Hello, everybody. Hope you had a great start to a new year and welcome to another Descriptify video. Descriptify is an initiative through which I share the knowledge I've gathered on building stable process automation code. I'm super excited to share a concept that I've learned in the last couple of weeks. That is a topic that is really close to me in terms of making automation stable, which is continuous integration and continuous delivery. Now, this is a formidable term. It's a well-established DevOps practice that is followed in a lot of traditional software development. However, this is a relatively new term to a field like RPA, and therefore, it is quite intimidating to think about how this involves integrations with various tools but based on my own experience, I can tell you that it's a little easier than it seems at first. All you actually need is a UiPath Community Edition. Jenkins is a free tool that you can install on any Windows PC, and you need a GitHub account which you already integrated with UiPath. And once you have these things, you can easily replicate what I show you in today's video. So I'm super excited to share this. What we'll see today is a basic integration of Jenkins with GitHub and UiPath Orchestrator to create your own CICD pipeline. This video is only a preview. I'll link to a detailed post on UiPath forum on how to replicate this step by step. And this video is also the first part of a two-part series on CI/CD integration that I'd be doing. The first part establishes the pipeline itself, which we'll be seeing today. And the second part talks about how you can add tests to the pipeline. Think of this tutorial as a starting point to get your own pipeline running. This is a somewhat advanced topic, so I'll assume that you already know how to connect UiPath with GitHub or any other source code repository. Before we dive in, a special thanks to Satish Prasad, the creator of RPA Bots World, for helping me learn how to do this. I'll also link to his article on the topic below. All right, so what we are trying to do today is to start with a Git repository, then connect that to a Jenkins pipeline, and eventually publish that to an orchestrator, and all of this happening in an automated fashion. So if everything works right, what you should see is this Git repository is connected to Jenkins here and in a pipeline that we will configure, and eventually you'll see the same process here, UiPath Jenkins CICD demo reflected here in my cloud orchestrator instance. So let's actually go ahead and do all of these steps one after the other. The first step would be to clone this repository. In order to do that, I can open up UiPath and then say, go to team and say clone repository. And here I already have the repository URL and the directory to which it needs to be checked out to. So once I do that, I can just say open. So now this repository from GitHub has been cloned to my local folder. One thing you want to take note of here is the Jenkins file. So in this Jenkins file, I have some bit of configuration. So if I open it up and show you how it looks, you can see here that I've configured this with the details of my orchestrator instance. Like the write-up that will follow this video will show you how to do this for your own orchestrator instance with detailed steps. So, okay, so we're already through with step 1. Now let's go on to step 2. So the second thing we need to do is actually create a new item on Jenkins and establish a new pipeline for connecting the GitHub repository to our orchestrator. So Jenkins is the go-between. It sees that if there's an update on GitHub, it automatically pushes that update to the orchestrator. And to do this, I name it, give it a suitable name. And then select multi-branch pipeline and hit OK. Once I've done this, I have to add the source, which is my GitHub repository. So I select GitHub, and here I would need to provide credentials if it's a private repository, but since this is a public repository, I can just go ahead and type in the URL and it should already work. The moment I hit save, Jenkins performs a scan, finds a Jenkins file, and actually finishes with a success. So this looks good for now. And when I go back to my repository itself, it has cloned my GitHub structure, which has a master. And we can see that it's already building the pipeline. In the sense, it has already detected that there is some code on the GitHub repository. And as you can see, it's going through the stages mentioned in the Jenkins file of preparing, building, testing, deploying to UAT, and deploying to production. So if everything has gone fine, I should see this process reflected on the orchestrator instance the moment I hit refresh. And voila! And here's where we see that process coming in. And this is the magical moment when you actually see all of these things working together. The demo process is nothing but, so when I open the demo process, I can see that it's just a message box for illustrations purposes. And yeah, it just has, is this real life? Is this just fantasy? Does that sound familiar? So once I run this process from the orchestrator, it should again give me this message box. So now let's say we go back to our original file and modify it a little bit. Let's say I add one more message box here. And I save this change and commit this with a commit message. When I push this commit to GitHub, what we must see in Jenkins is that it registers a new build here automatically because it has recognized that the Git repository has changed. Yeah, so you can see that the second build has already registered and it's being carried out. Once the deployment is finished, we should be able to see this in the orchestrator as well. So there you go, that's the new version. And when I hit play on this version, or when I execute this version, you can see that the additional line is displayed as well. So that's it for this demo. What I've outlined is how you can connect an existing UiPath process to a Jenkins pipeline by using GitHub as an intermediary. This is super exciting because there are virtually no limits to what you can achieve with this setup, and it gets you one step closer to learning DevOps and implementing your own CICD pipeline. In part 2, we'll also figure out how we can use automated tests and to put a quality gate in the middle, whereby only if a code has passed these tests, it would go on to be deployed in the orchestrator. If you found this tutorial useful, hit the subscribe button to keep up with the new videos that I'll be posting here. And until next time, I wish you happy and stable automation.